I mean, there are some things that we definitely don't see eye to eye. You know, me being, an OG, and coming up through when there was no internet and there was no accessibility, there was no uh, information that was accessible at our fingertips. And I came up when that didn't exist. And when you went to the library to look it up, it wasn't there. So we're in a different age. We're in the age of information. So I think a lot of guys do two things. One, they like to remain willfully ignorant. The second part is they live in their fear. And until they're able to grow out of those two things, they'll never be ready.
Okay. Now, I want to just ask you this because I think that it's important to our audience and mainly to the girls. I'm really here to try to educate trans women about there is some men that can offer them stability, hope of having a positive relationship, and the mere fact of that there's somebody out there that will love them and care about them. Now, why did you decide to do this? Why did you decide to speak, to come out? Because generally Black men are the worst ones for conversation in the first place, mainly when it comes to relationships.
Well, there's always been a loose community when the internet started going around way back in the AOL days and then the Yahoo days. There are always groups where, trans attracted men, I guess you would call them then, and trans women communicated. We intermingled, we talked. So there were always loose groups over the years where we would just have real open conversations. I remember Miko Hicks. She lives in Dallas. She has a weekly radio show.
Mm-hmm.
She used to have, when Blog Talk Radio first started, she used to have a talk show called Tea Time, I believe it was. And every week I would be on her show, and it was just a call-in, show. So I would mostly be on the phone. It wasn't video like we do today.
Mm-hmm.
And she never used my name. She used to always call me the distinguished gentleman from Michigan. And one day during an argument with one of the other panelists on the show, I was getting probably a little out of pocket, and somebody called me by my name. Troy Kennedy, calm down. I said, oh, I clutched my pearls. I said, oh my God. How do you know me? Oh my goodness. And, it just made me realize that, what I was saying carried weight. Then, a few years later, Diamond Styles, Diamond lives down in Dallas. We, again, on these forums that we were in, she said, well, I need a guy to interview. And, no guy will speak up. I was like, what the hell I look like? And so I drove to Indianapolis. She was visiting her grandmother after Thanksgiving, and we taped an hour-long conversation. So it was something that needed to be done. I know a lot of Black men in my own personal life, some who will admit it, others who won't, who mess with the girls.
Mm-hmm.
The more I became open, the more that I was able to see. And the more people came to me and talking to me about it. So I just decided that someone had to do it. And I was allowed to be on two different women's forums, their platforms, to speak out and to make a difference. And that's, and I owe that to them, and to them giving me that choice.
Well, Troy, that's amazing. I'm gonna be honest. I take my hat off to you for having the courage, because I know our people. I know how they are. Now, when you are dating a trans woman that feels that, do you feel that the trans women that you have dated separates themselves from the gay community that they first grew up in, and now that they feel that they're women, and you say, well, let's go support Pride, or let's go support this group, or let's go support this, or let's just go. And she says, oh no, I'm not a part of that anymore. My life is different now. Have you met girls like that? Because I have girls here that tell me that I don't do those gay things anymore. I don't go to
I don't,
drag bars. I don't do shows.
I've never dated a woman like that.
Okay, wonderful. Now, do you see any change in the way things are going now with men becoming more open to dating trans women, or do you still think men are just, hiding? I mean, because basically people aren't thinking about the fact that they're trans. People don't think about that. The first thing they always think is you're either gay or you're bisexual or you're straight. That's just how normal society looks at anything, no matter who you're dating. Because if they say you're dating a trans person, the first thing most women would think is that you're gay.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a little story. I'm tell you a story about my own family. Okay, I've told this story 1,000 times. Uh, the term heteronormative, I don't really think is really a real thing. And I'll use the males in my generation and the next generation in my family. So it'll be my brothers and I, and our male children, including my sister's male children. I have two brothers. One brother, it would be called heteronormative. The other, he happens to like the girls too. So is my brother who is heteronormative, is he normal, or is my brother and I normal? Okay. Now let's go with the children. There are 5 boys. The oldest one is gay. The second one, he likes trans women as well as cis women. The next 2 are gay. And then the last 2 are heteronormative. So who's normal? The difference between my family and everybody else's family is that we live our truth.
Okay.
There's that.
Now, I understand. I understand it very clearly. Now, do you think that in reality, in real reality, like you say, living your truth, do you think trans women that you dated thought that the relationship could lead to something really positive besides just sex or company?
Well, the 10-year relationship that I was in at the time, the marriage laws, her name wasn't changed. Getting your name and your gender marker changed wasn't easy at that point. I mean, of course, over the years, laws have changed and things have become different. So she didn't want to get married and it be just a symbolic wedding. Today, that would be different. Her gender markers changed, so it wouldn't matter. But yeah, I wanted to get married back then. My first real, what do you call it? What is the word? What's his word? Monogamous. My first monogamous relationship didn't happen until I was with the woman I was with for 10 years. I didn't know how to be in a monogamous relationship until that point. So we knew that it could be more. But again, as we were evolving, society was evolving. And there were some things that I didn't know yet. Again, we're talking almost 20 years ago when we first got together. I'm not the same man that I was 20 years ago, nor is she the same woman. But mind you, we're very close. We'll always be very close because, again, my children call her mom. But I was in 2 other relationships, one for a little more than a year, another for 2.5 years. One was an older girl, one was a younger girl. So there was definitely more than just sex. I mean, we supported each other. I supported their work. One did drag and was an entertainer. The other was a musician and an activist. And even though we did kind of fall out ugly in an ugly manner, but still, that's what me as a man. What I want in a relationship is a woman who I can grow old with, even though I am older, mature, well seasoned,